All right, we got Mark Schlereth from Fox joining me right now. He's on the call with Adam Amen and Shannon Spake. Vikings versus Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium, 12 p.m. Central Time. And Mark, thank you for joining me today. I'm just going to refer to you as Stink from here on out. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's much easier, Gabe. It's much easier to that nickname is way easier. Just go with that, and all is good.
All right, well, all is good right now in Vikings country. Going into this upcoming Sunday's game against the Ravens, trying to get this bad taste out of our mouth from the Dallas Cowboys loss on Sunday. But when you're looking at this matchup, you got Lamar Jackson and the Ravens coming off a bye. What stands out to you?
Well, I mean, there's so many different things. I mean, I look at the Minnesota Vikings and I look at the talent on the offense, and the fact that it just sputters at times is, it like there's always an aspect of offense to me that, requires time. And as a young player, you only learn how to play this game through usually the mistakes you make, right? Like you don't know what you like, what you dislike, what works, what doesn't work. You don't really know that until you've experienced it, until you've gone through it. And once you've gone through it, you realize, oh, shoot, I don't like that throw versus this coverage, or I don't like that technique, or I don't like that play. And you only know that through the experience of living it. And you can't find it out in practice, especially in today's practice where you never put on pads and, it's limited. So there's an aspect of learning how an offense is supposed to feel based upon the amount of time. So I say that to say that Clint Kubiak is finding those things out as a play caller. For me, there's a metamorphosis that goes into calling plays where you go from calling a play or calling plays to calling an offense. And you only learn how to call an offense through the trials and tribulations of calling plays, right? And you start to learn what meshes together, how things are connected, how to attack. Everybody knows how to attack a cover three or how to attack a quarters coverage, or everybody knows how to attack it, but how do you set it up? And how do you adjust when the team adjusts, when the team that you're playing adjusts? And the only way you get good at doing that is by doing it. And those things take time. So I look at the first drive against the Cowboys and think, wow, what an exceptional drive. And then all of a sudden, you basically go stale for a couple of quarters. Those are things that have to get better. And I believe they'll get better because I believe you have too much talent on the offensive side of that ball to continue to not, to have these long lulls of three and out and these long pauses during the course of a game where you're not producing offensively. So I believe that gets rectified. And then, on the flip side of that, you're sacking the quarterback with efficiency. It's just a mistake here, a mistake there, a coverage breakdown. The play last week, against Rashard Breeland that bounces off his chest, and it's covered perfectly and falls into the hands of Amari Cooper. I mean, those things are like it always feels like when it rains, it pours. When bad things are happening to you, they continue to happen to you, almost like you're looking for them. And it's hard to shake that stuff off. It's not hard to not have that feel behind you when things just aren't quite clicking. That, oh gosh, here we go again. And that's kind of the feel I get from the Vikings. I think they're a lot better than their 3-4 record would lead you to believe.
You talked about the offense. You started off with the offense, and you talk about all these weapons on this team. And I want to go TV on this movie-ish type stuff because I know you're a movie star, and you played in the show Guiding Light, I think it's the second longest running drama in television. So who is this guiding light for this Minnesota Vikings offense?
Yeah, it's interesting. Based on the offense and based on, I obviously played for Gary Kubiak for a long time in Denver. I really know the offense. The guiding light is an individual. It's a principle. And that principle is we're going to run the ball come hell or high water. And the way that really works is you have you have an identity in what it is that you want to do, what it is that you want to become. And that really is what guides you as an offense to me. We can talk about Justin Jefferson, and we can talk about Adam Thielen, and we can talk about KJ Osborne and Tyler Conklin and all the players and the weapons that the Minnesota Vikings have. And those are all great things. But to truly create opportunities, to me, you create opportunities through this offense. You create explosive opportunities in this offense in really running the ball and what that sets up for you. And so those are the things. The guiding principle, the guiding light has got to be your adherence to what it is you are, to your identity, and staying with that even when things aren't working as well as you'd like them to work. Those are the things that you have to stay true to. And, it ultimately becomes, hey, we run, a handful of plays, but we just run them out of different personnel groupings, different formations, different motions. We attack one guy. I think the beauty of this offense and how it's evolved, especially from a wide stretch aspect, is that you can change one or two guys' responsibilities on the offense in that given play. And to the defense, it looks different. So for 9 guys, you're doing the exact same thing you would do on a wide stretch play every single time. But we're going to trade, or we're going to change an entry point to the fullback. He's either going to sift across the formation, or he's going to be in force on the front side of the formation, or we're going to take that double team between tackle and tight end, and we're going to change it. Tackle's going to block back, and we're going to change that double team between tight end and fullback. And now all of a sudden the tight end is going to free release and have the force element, and the fullback's going to kick out the defensive end. And so for a defense, through change of personnel, through formational change, through motion and shift change, and through entry point change of a fullback or a tight end, we could take one play, 18-19 handoff, and make it look like 7 or 8 plays to the defense. And that becomes something that's very hard to contend with as a defensive player. It gets you playing scheme as opposed to playing individual blocks. And when you do that, big things can happen for you as an offense. But you have to have patience, and you have to trust it, and guys have to execute it. And I think as a young play caller, sometimes you feel like, we haven't made enough explosive plays, and you almost get away from that. And you see all those weapons that you have, and you want to throw it to them. And I understand that. So there's a fine balance, and it's part of learning. I think it's part of learning how to play is a big thing. Learning how to call plays and call an offense, like I said, is a big thing.
Well, with all these weapons, you only got one ball. But like you said, starting with the run, that gets everyone involved. It opens up the pass game. It opens it up for this entire offense. But I want to go to the offensive side of the ball for the Baltimore Ravens. We know who's going to get the ball 50, 60% of the time with Lamar Jackson. And stopping him, I don't think that is the word I want to use. But sans Danielle Hunter, how do you contain Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest case in point, right? When you rush the passer, especially against Lamar, rush lane integrity becomes important, right? If you get your hands on him, getting him down becomes important. Not, almost like focusing on like his midsection, like his belly button, and not using all the fakes and the athleticism. These are the greatest athletes in the world, in my opinion. NFL players, professional athletes in general, basketball players, but the greatest athletes in the world. And the fact that a guy like Lamar can get on the football field and make defensive players look like they're JV athletes, it is one of the most remarkable things. I played in this league for 12 years, and there are very few guys that ever come around that make other professional athletes look like average citizens. Like, everybody's a freak show. Like, you go into an NFL, you've seen it. Yeah. Every dude is a freak show, right? Every dude has been touched, bam, by the hand of God. And to have one guy that's that much more touched than everybody else is, it just is remarkable. And so, yeah, his ability, not only in the passing game and how he's matured as an NFL quarterback, and his off-platform throws and some of the accuracy he uses. One thing is, you're going to get opportunities if you're the Minnesota Vikings defense, because most of what they run is hard play action fake and longer developing routes. They always have some deep over route that he throws really well, some shallow crosses that go, you get into a cut split, where the receivers are closer to the line of scrimmage, maybe 5 yards outside the tackle box. And then they're running, both shallow cross. We used to call it bingo cross in my day in the West Coast offense, where one guy is running, a shallow cross, the other guy's coming on a drive on the other side. They're the same, whatever you want to call the route combination, but they're two shallow crosses that are going to intersect. And what you're trying to do is take that underneath coverage and get it to rub, getting it to bump into each other. So you're getting somebody wide open. Well, it takes a little bit of time to develop because somebody's on you, they're bumping you off the line of scrimmage. You got to negotiate the traffic. You're trying to get the traffic to pick each other. It takes time. And those are the routes or the route combinations when you watch the Baltimore Ravens, they play all the time. And so that takes a little bit of time. It's not as much the short, short passing game like the curl flat or the slant flat combinations that everybody runs. And Baltimore runs it too, but they just don't run it as much. They want to flag it off the hard play action stuff and get Lamar off the line of scrimmage and give him those opportunities. So you're going to have an ability to rush the passer. I think the Vikings are one of the top teams, if not the top team in the National Football League as far as sacking the quarterback is concerned, or they're right up there at the top. So you're going to get your opportunities. Can you take advantage of them? Can you stay on your feet? It's always fascinating to me. You even see it, on the field when a quarterback scrambles, he's 6 yards over the line of scrimmage and he just does this and guys jump in the air. Like they're just, they're just prone to do it, right? Like he's running the ball. Like he's already over the line of scrimmage. You can't help yourself. And so can you stay disciplined from a rush lane integrity standpoint? And can you stay disciplined to keep your freaking feet on the ground? Easier said than done. I know. I played defense in college, so I know how it is when you get that pump fake. You can't help but jump up and try to block the ball. So we'll see exactly how they play that.
That's a great point about those long routes. When you have a guy like Lamar Jackson that can extend plays, you can buy more time in the passing game. Yeah, you do put more pressure on your offensive lineman to hold some of these guys up, but if a defensive line is worried about Lamar Jackson running, it's like, well, we're not going to get too much upfield, which buys some of that time. So great point there. I'll get you out of here with this. Outside of containing Lamar, the Vikings will win if –
Vikings will win if they control line of scrimmage and control the time of possession. What happens to you when you play the Ravens usually? Last week or the week before when they played Cincinnati, notwithstanding. But what happens to you is that they have such a ball control offense with Lamar that they get a kickoff or they get the ball in the first quarter and they'll eat 7-8 minutes off the clock and they'll score a touchdown. They're so unique in their operation, and you can't prepare for it, right? You prepare for it, but you never get the fits because you don't practice in pads. And so that first quarter is a feeling out process. So they get the ball, they drive it down, they take 8 minutes off the clock, they kick it to you. Wink Martindale, their defensive coordinator, is going to bring pressure right off the bat. That's what he does. He creates a stop in the backfield on your first run. Now all of a sudden it's 2nd down and 12, and you panic. You throw 2 incomplete passes. You punt it to them, and they eat another 7 minutes off the clock, and they kick a field goal. And now you're sitting there going, we've had 3 plays in the first quarter, 1 possession. The average game is 12 possessions, and you're like, oh, shoot, we're running out of time. And It's the first quarter. And so you totally scrap pile your plan because you're like, man, they're already up on us 10-0, and we've had the ball 1 time. And you start counting as a coordinator. You start counting possessions in your head. You're like, well, shoot, like we're going to get the ball twice in this quarter, and then in the third quarter, like we're already down. It's the first quarter, and you're already like, we only have 8 possessions. Now we got to score on every possession. And that's the game that they I think the Ravens, the way they're constructed and built, and this is a testament to John Harbaugh and his coaching, I think they're as good a complementary football team. They're built to create a style with which puts you behind the 8 ball right off the bat. And that's the way they operate. And so you can't fall victim to the, oh my God, count possessions, we're in trouble in the first quarter. You got to stay with what you are. And like I said, easier said than done, because one thing the Ravens are going to do, they're going to pressure you. And on both offensively and defensively, they're going to pressure you. And they're pretty damn good at it. And it's why they've won, 11 straight games against NFC opponents. It's one of the reasons they have one of the best records off a bye week than anybody in football. It's the way they operate.
Well, they are the fourth most blitz-heavy team in the NFL. But the Vikings trying to get their fourth win of the season. This is coming Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens. So, Stink, I'm sure I'll see you there. Looking forward to your call and looking forward to hopefully another Vikings victory on Sunday. Appreciate you, man.
Should be a good one. Take care, man. Look forward to seeing you.
Likewise. Thank you.